Here's how you know that your soul is ready and you have one of those souls that came here to be part of the future that is being built and birthed all around us right now. There's an invisible world being constructed, and only the spiritual can see it. And it's such a shame for the people who can't, because there would be so much more hope for humanity. There would be so much more peace in the world, I believe. And there would be so much more. The irony is like control, but more like not control, because it's not control of the greater order. It is the control of our brilliance, genius, infinite intelligence, and inner divinity that allows us to be in this experience and feel like it is heaven. Welcome to I Am Divine AF. This is not just a podcast. It's an anthem for the souls ready to reclaim their divinity and break free into their highest destiny. My mission is to help you answer the casual "how are you?" with "I've never been fucking happier." So buckle up as we go on a journey to debunk divinity and liberate the only thing that creates your reality, your consciousness. Episodes will be engineered with spiritual empowerment that awaken your superconscious, activate your divine gifts, and help you live the legacy you always dreamed of. One divine aligned step at a time. Let's make magic, people, and have the time of our lives while doing it. So where are we going to go with this today? That's the big question. It's like, what is heaven on earth? Like, what is that? Is it peace of mind? Is it a heart that's like literally bursting in love that you get moved to tears on an inverted commas ordinary day? When you start living from your galactic being, from your Eden identity, you essentially start experiencing miracles. And for the normal 3D eye, it's like if you're in IMAX and you didn't have the glasses on, you wouldn't see what everyone else saw. You're not on the same wavelength. So when we talk about miracles, miracles for me are more felt than witnessed right now. And there has been a huge shift in my sensory system where my perception of something has way more to do with my feeling than my ability to explain it through logic and mind. So I'm having these profound experiences that almost get diluted if I try to narrow them down to language, linear language and logic to explain them. And that's okay, because I'm having the experiences anyways. And if this is the beginning of what is to come, woo, Nelly, we outside, we about to go ride. We are saddling up and we're heading into the wild, wild west of fucking manifestation and miracles. And manifestation seems like such a weak word. It's almost like I woke up one day and I could not resonate with that word anymore. There's so much around manifestation that I think I personally on my journey have outgrown, because it doesn't ensure one's divinity. You could be manifesting from ego still, and you could probably hack the laws of the universe. You could probably leverage energy, and you could probably manifest a lot of things. But I'm here for the happiness. I'm here for the euphoria. I'm here for the looking at something and feeling like my eyes are having an orgasm, because it feels and moves me in my entire body as I witness the miracle of life happening through me, as me, and connected to me. I'm here for that. I'm here for that feeling. And when you start sharing that feeling, when you start resonating with a tribe of people and your relationships deepen, where you start looking in each other's eyes and having a level of intimacy that has been so absent from the world, you start going, oh my God, how beautiful is humanity? How beautiful is humanity? Connection, unity, starting to actually be in not just empathy and not just awareness of each other, but in resonance, where you start to feel and vibe out. Your vibe attracts your tribe. You are the state of attunement that is attracting the experiences, miracles, and feelings you have as you perceive this world. And what's happening is that this is not going to be forced on you. You don't have to develop yourself into a level of remembrance that you can actually be in the default embodiment. My company, Global Intelligence Initiative, downloaded on the 4th day of a water fast in 2020, May 2020. And I always was like, intelligence is just critical to where the world's going. And I didn't understand it. And I started with my book, The Intelligence of Happiness. Now I'm working on another one. And as I dive deeper, I'm growing into this understanding of intelligence. But the point of bringing this up was it's that we are divine by design. So when we take everything else away, we are divinity embodied in human form. We are not a human in the universe. We're the entire universe in a human. Like, we cannot be anything but our divinity. We can be unaware of our divinity and have the illusion of disconnection from it. And it's like, I love how I had this revelation the other day. Like, if the goal was to connect to source, it's not to connect to source. It's to remember I am source. And I remember I started laughing. I'm like, there's nothing to connect to. I was sending a voice note to a friend and they were having a hard time. And I was just like, at the end of the day, just be in nothingness. When you are in nothingness and you let go of everything else and you disconnect from the noise and you take all the fucking distractions away, the pressures, the curated stimuli that's actually there to press your buttons, wanting a response, because that's the evolutionary nature of this human experience. We can hit pause. We can return to stillness. 9-minute method to miracles. First thing I do in the morning, that's a habit that I live by and will die by, is to disconnect from the noise. I'm not just disconnecting from the noise. When I started that method at the start of 2025, I didn't realize what I was actually allowing my body to do was say, hey, remember, connect to source. Well, or remember, disconnect from the noise so you can feel the source within you, pulsing through you as you, and let that be the set point equilibrium that you're operating your consciousness from, your mindset from. Your conscious thoughts, your subconscious beliefs are now being filtered when you disconnect from the noise. The only thing left to filter that through is one's own divinity. The noise is the most distracting place, but silence is the most informative and loud place ever, because so much corrects itself. Like the natural order, we are very self-organizing as a planet when we leave it to higher intelligence, cosmic intelligence, spiritual intelligence, divine intelligence, infinite intelligence. I don't care what you name it. The intelligence that was not through the linear mind of logic, where we think about having to fix something. We don't have to fix anything because we are inherently divinity and we know how to self-organize the same way. From the time a baby is conceived, it knows how to grow into human form to be birthed from a fetus. Like, that is always the reference point of divine intelligence, because even just constructing an eyeball that has the ability to see with that much architecture and functionality, or like the ear that can hear, far less the fucking circuitry of the brain. You're telling me we want to use the limitation of our mind to get in the way of the natural order of our divine intelligence that guides us on autopilot? Nah, dude, I'm stopping and I'm starting with silence. And it was so funny because in the last months, I had so many noisy spaces. It was like the universe got jokes. The creator got jokes. The master architect up in there with some popcorn, probably smoking a reefer, like, dude. So what we'll do is we'll put her in a construction place so that she got so annoyed with noise, she'll seek silence. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hilarious how silence became such an important part of my life, not just because of mental noise, which is the quickest way to move from gray into black. If you've heard me talk about suicide in the past, I avoid the black at all costs. Like, so to me, there's a scale, there's black, gray, and white here in the light. And I'm not saying avoid this shadow. I'm not saying spiritually bypass. You can do shadow work while holding your light. That is about witnessing, mirroring, being accountable, being in non-judgment, being in acceptance, and the willingness to face illusions as you deconstruct and allow identities to collapse in front of you that were once you, as you held a version of yourself anchored in something that was defensive, protective, potentially sabotaging, or just ignorant because it was easier. And that's okay. We can lean into shadow work from light. What happens is if we get into these toxic spirals where we are self-critical, in shame, guilty, regret, like hating on ourselves, hating on the world, we're in blame, we have an external locus of control, We are complaining about everything. Our negativity bias is like, let's fucking be magnetic and call every single shit show forward and have a rave and like just be in the shitter. Like that is like a really dangerous place. And that's what I call in the black, where you go down and you go, okay, I'm going to just sit in this hellhole and everything about life is going to suck. And it's a hard place to get out of because you start to believe it. Every thought is magnetic. And when you start repeating those thoughts and they start taking hold as beliefs, you hear something enough times in your mind that you start to actually anchor that in your subconscious and start to give it validity as, i.e., truth. Danger, 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 danger. Try to get back in the gray. Because it's hard to have perspective in the law of relativity. It's hard to even feel the comfort, relief, and enjoyment that comes from putting things in perspective. Life is not great, but relative to how much worse it could be, it's actually pretty phenomenal. But that doesn't even work when you're in the black anymore, you know? And so it's been an interesting time sitting in this evolution of my own beingness, consciousness, sensory system, awareness. As I grow, I just feel like I went through a galactic death. Like the energetic being with the consciousness that Gigi had before, even just weeks ago, is not who I sit as now in this universe by any means. And we can outgrow our ego. Our ego can die over and over and over again. You know, the rebirth is the death and the birth, and that's both messy, and we talk about that. But for the first time ever, I think I'm experiencing galactic rebirth. I don't even know what to call it because this is just something I'm feeling and trying to describe as I experience and navigate my way through it. I've been so open to seeing that I haven't been worried about being seen. I'm not posting. I'm not getting out there. I'm in my receivership from the highest intelligence. And as we circle back now, we can come full circle to just hold the space for the silence. Because I think that the universe has the most intelligent ways and paths for us to come into the realization or step into the higher versions of ourselves, not to mention timeline shift, but quantum leap. But it's funny how the noise in my life got so much worse when I didn't value silence, right? Like suddenly it was like everywhere I went, it was like a joke. I would go visit people at their villa, and then someone would come and be like, hey, we just need to do some maintenance and dig up this pipe. And then there would be like noise, you know? And I actually started to learn the lesson, like, okay, when something's appearing a multiple of times in different settings, I consider that a cue to look for the message. Okay, there's a pattern here, pattern recognition. What's the message in this for me? And so essentially, when I started valuing silence, everything in my life started changing. And this is part of the divinity experiment that I'm doing right now, is living by a God protocol that is so different to everything we've been taught. Rewriting the code of consciousness within my mind that does not like fuck with or vibe on that survival matrix of enslavement vibe. Like I'm out of there. But the problem is getting out of there, you need a home somewhere. So I'm like, where is the home? And then the quest begins as you seek to know where you belong, because you've no longer found solace and inclusion in a place that you were never meant to stay in anyways. But it doesn't make it any less isolating and lonely as you grow into higher versions of yourself. And so know that there will be a space. Know that there is a space. I mean, Eden is always going to be that space for you guys. Right now, Eden's going through its own little rebirth. Eden is my online members club, the sanctuary, the oasis for the chosen ones, the 144,000, the ones called into the excitement of what is coming and the awareness of the evolution. I feel like it's not spirituality for beginners. If you are a beginner, yes, you are welcome. But, you know, it's for the ones who already have that sort of advanced understanding and spiritual grip. You know, they're no longer fighting and disputing that the world is going through this stuff and trying to make sense of it. It's for the like-minded ones who are in that path, who know. They're no longer pondering and thinking. They know what's going on with the planet. And this is a home and a sanctuary for those people. So don't worry, there's going to be a space. It's the space I needed. It's the space I still need. And as I talked about, like just being in deep connection is one of the biggest anchors of stability as we go through a very volatile, uprooting time right now. We need to find ways to ground into our tribe, ground into our soul, ground into the ride that we're on. It's not about getting off the roller coaster. It's just about being like, okay, let's make sure we have a seatbelt and make sure that there's some fucking cool ass people on this roller coaster with us, so that when I look across and I'm screaming my lungs out, that I see someone else. It's like, oh, cool, we're here together. You know, it just, for whatever reason, it makes it that much more easy to go through like the ups and downs, right? Because you're like, well, I'm not isolated on this path wondering if I'm going to die. I don't know why it is when you see other people going through something that, you could otherwise find overwhelming or even dangerous. You're like, I don't feel as scared. I remember we're driving through Croatia and we saw these people jumping off a bridge. And I was like, I'm going to jump off a bridge and jump into the water. That looks so much fun. But if I had just crossed that bridge and no one was jumping off of it, I would have been like, oh, is it safe? I don't know. And it's funny, like we're pack animals. And when we move with a pack, there's unity and there's a lot of security in unity as well. And so I'm hoping that we can come together, feel safe, and not just feel safe, but feel excited, supported, and loved as we ride this journey and this roller coaster and start to see that they are gateways opening into a world that you always thought was like a fairy tale. And I'm telling you, because I'm starting to live it, I'm starting to feel it, I'm starting to vibe with it. And I will, hand on heart, this is just, I'm going all in. I'm going all in, and hopefully you're on the ride with me. Love, light. I don't know what else I can touch on today. I always pour from the soul. I think I'm recording like a sentence that I think is important. I look down and it's like almost 20 minutes. So here we are, straight from the soul, from my heart to yours. Have a divine time remembering you are source. And when you forget, just disconnect from the noise and let the silence flood you with remembrance that you are everything and more. There's nothing you are disconnected from. There's nothing you need to become. You just need to be. And when you are in the wholesomeness and the wholeness of your spirit and the entire universe that is you on every fractal level of your body, then that's where miracles start to happen. And so I honestly am so excited for us, guys. Humanity, let's do this. All right, we'll talk soon.